Hi, my name's Nick, and this is my testimony about how God has completely transformed my life. My testimony is a little bit different than most. Most people have some crazy thing happen in their life that changes everything. For me, there were some pretty big events that happened in my life that changed things, but for me, I think most of my big problems resided within myself. I grew up to a really nice, non-religious family in the suburbs, extremely high morals, great people, and I'm completely blessed for that. I didn't have many friends growing up, typically. I was always looking for fulfillment in different things. Through my high school and middle school days, it was looking for women to fulfill me, looking for cars, any kind of temporal thing, whatever it took to make me feel fulfilled. I was always looking for that, and it just seemed like everything didn't really do it for me. I was never a drinker, never a smoker. I really never did drugs, but I did have one big vice that has owned a lot of my life, and that was pornography. I started watching pornography when I was 11 years old, and it continued to get worse and deepen and deepen and deepen as time went on. At age 14, I'd been hanging out with some different friends, friends that, went to church, friends that were confirmed and all these things, and I was just struck. There's no difference between them and me. We did the exact same things, we had the exact same sins and problems. There was no difference in our lives. And that just kind of struck me like, what's the point of religion? It seemed like there's so many problems that came from it. Wars, all these crazy things on TVs with molestations. I was just extremely turned off. I'm like, what's the point of this? Around age 14, I decided I think I'm atheist. I don't think I believe in a God. I don't know how his people can act in the exact same way as me. It seems like there's no power in religion. My atheism deepened and deepened, and within atheism, you do live to kind of please yourself. It's whatever fulfills you at that moment is what you're into. A lot of people have kind of atheistic morals. There's certain things they will and will not do, but at the same time, you are your God. You're seeking to fulfill yourself. I professed atheism up until 17. When I was 17 with my first girlfriend, we had a pregnancy scare. For the first time in my entire life, I was in fear. I just didn't even know what to do. I decided to get on my knees for the first time and ask the Lord, pray to Him, Lord, if you will make it so this does not happen, I will give you a try. It proves that, though I claimed atheism, I think I was just hiding because I knew I was living in a way that was not acceptable to God. So I started attending church pretty regularly, even started reading my Bible. But nothing really changed. There was nothing within me that was changing. That year that I started attending church, I started getting bullied very heavily at school. I started getting extremely anxious. Because of this bullying, I was worried they were going to burn my house down or hurt me or my family or people I cared about. And this kind of spiraled into adult depression, which deepened and deepened throughout college, especially my freshman year. Being separated from the people that were very important in my life really was a big blow to me, as well as relational issues with my girlfriend at the time. That summer, she dumped me. We broke up, and that, paired with my addiction, paired with my own issues of depression and anxiety, all kind of led me to a point where I was very suicidal, especially entering into my sophomore year of college. I praise the Lord, I got closer with Him through that time and started to kind of recover a little bit. But sure enough, 2 years later, the same thing happens. Issues with the girlfriend, still in the same addiction, still in a deep pornography addiction, was drinking regularly at this point, never in an addictive way, but that doesn't help when you add that into the mix, as well as just having issues from my past, things that I'd done that I couldn't forgive myself for, that I knew were wrong. I just felt tortured. It was at this point I was very, very close to ending my life. I remember having a knife up to my wrist one night, and I think it's only the grace of God that made it so I didn't. But at this point in my life, I kind of just gave up on religion. I'd been trying for about 5 years at this point, and I had no victory. Nothing about me could change. It drove me nuts. I look back and I realized there was no relationship with Jesus. That's what was missing. But I couldn't keep His law. I couldn't not sin. It was just crushing to me. I thought my only destiny was an everlasting hellfire burning there forever. That's what I thought, and Satan definitely tricked me in that and brought me to despair. I thought there was no going back. I've committed too many sins. So I just continued down that line, and it deepened and it deepened. About a year later, I finally graduated from college. Praise the Lord. That was a very stressful time in my life, trying to get through school. I was still with that girl. It was not good for me, but I was far away from her, working up in northern Minnesota, and I started getting closer to God. I started attending church again, started doing Bible studies with a few different people and reading my Bible. There's still no victory, but I did enjoy getting closer to God again. I wanted to give him another try. He had never left me, I had left him. And about a year from here, this girlfriend and I broke up, and I was worried, oh, not this again. I was so worried about falling back in the pit of depression. I was still in addiction. I still couldn't forgive myself, and then this is just the next blow, like another bad breakup. Like, oh man, Lord, where am I going to go this time? I was kind of scared for my life, to be honest with you. It was amazing. I had cried the entire day at work, the entire first half of the day, and I decided at my lunch break to go to my car. I prayed, Lord, if you are real, I just beg you for your peace. I don't want to go through this again. Please, Lord, please help me. And for the first time in my entire life, I felt a peace and a serenity that I could not describe. I come to him completely broken, knowing there's nothing good in myself. There's nothing I could do to help myself. And he just filled me with peace. The same thing the next day. He just filled me with his peace again, same situation. It was that very week there was a seminar on justification by faith at a church in the city I was living in at the time. And I kind of, I'll give it a try. The Lord's been doing some amazing things for me this week. Maybe I'll give it a try. I wasn't really too into it. It was more just, I guess I should go. I was blown away. For the first time in my entire life, I understood just how much Jesus loved me, how he died for me individually. It wasn't just a, corporate death. He died for me individually. I just learned about how he loves me, how he wants me to live for him, and how he has lived for me, and how he continues to live for me. It blew me away. It was at this time I had been kind of convicted I should maybe do something for the homeless. It just seemed like a cause that was very worthy. And so, with understanding Jesus' love for the first time, burning in my heart, I decided to go out and start doing homeless ministry. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I went out and I just saw how God can use me to touch other people's lives. It's something I didn't expect. There's nothing special about me. I was just a kid right out of college working. Nothing crazy had happened to me that I could help homeless, but God showed me that I could encourage people and help them with their temporal things, encourage them to seek Jesus, their only help. And I just dove straight into it. I gave my all to this. All my time was spent either in Bible study, reading my Bible, with him in nature, or with the homeless. My money was spent primarily on trying to serve others. And through this time, God just completely transformed my life. Finally, just 3 days before I was baptized, God finally knocked my pornography addiction off of me. I was free, finally. It was amazing. I could not believe it. Something I never thought would happen. Shortly after becoming baptized, God moved me to the Pacific Northwest. And my first Sabbath at church, I met my wife, Jackie. About a month or two after we met, we decided to start courting. And within 5 months, we were married and quickly had our son. It has just been an amazing journey. God has brought me a woman who is devoted to God. He's brought me a woman who's devoted to ministry, to raising our children. And I got a stepdaughter out of it, something I've always wanted. I've always wanted a daughter. And now I have a daughter and a son. It's just been such a blessing. Following the Lord is the most amazing decision I ever made, and I know it will be for anybody who decides to follow him. We now live a life of ministry, and we've just been amazed to see what God has done and what God can do through us and for other people. And it's a wild ride. There's not a better way to spend your life than serving the Lord. I hope this was touching you, and I just wanted to let you know if you're struggling with any kind of addiction, God will break your chains. He broke my chains, and I know he could break it for you as well. Thanks.